All right, we're up.
Okay.
Goldsboro Youth Council meeting is now called to order. Okay, so I'm just gonna take row. Mary Archibald. Okay, Hannah Cox. Louise Gurley. Kendall Lee. Carter Lewis.
Here.
Anna Miranda.
Here.
Natalie Moore. Braxton Morton. Giovanni Nelson is excused. Rohan Shernith.
Here.
Larissa Stedman. Thomas Sumner. Vismitha Tanetti. Zane Turberfield is excused, and that concludes row.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. So now if we can go into the approval of the minutes, can everyone had an opportunity to review minutes from the January meeting? We'd like to have those approved. So is there someone that can offer a motion to approve the minutes from January?
I'll do it. I'll approve them.
Okay, you have to offer the motion first. Is that Carter or Rohan?
Motion to approve them.
That was Rohan. I'm sorry, was that Rohan that offered the motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Carter. Okay, minutes are approved. Okay, so now we're gonna go right into our meeting. I'd like to welcome our guest, Samantha Patrick. She's a public health education specialist with the Wayne County Health Department. And Samantha reached out to me last month inquiring about reaching out to the youth council and sharing just some things that the health department is doing surrounding teen and teen health. So I invited her to come to tonight's meeting just to share a few things that the health department is working on. So we can give Samantha our attention. Samantha, we certainly welcome you. We're happy to have you with us this afternoon. And the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, again, hello, I'm Samantha. I'm basically that fancy title of mine just means I'm a health educator at the health department here. You may see me pop up in your schools sometimes. I'm out in a couple schools doing Making Proud Choices, which is a program we do about sexual health that students can opt into. And then we do some other programming through the WISH centers. I know not all high schools have that option, but I will be in those centers as well. So I love working with teens. This is going to be a really great opportunity that I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight. And that is our public health essay contest that we sponsor every year. And I know Carter is definitely one that has participated and won before. So shout out to you, Carter. If you want to chime in at any point, we welcome that, but I don't want to put you on the spot or make you uncomfortable if not, but really great to have you here and have your experience as well. And I wanted to reach out to this group because of course you guys are going to be some of the best and the brightest and really leaders in your schools. So especially with COVID, I'm really not able to spread the word about this contest. If you guys are able to kind of advocate in your friend groups and with your classmates as well, that would be awesome. And I'll kind of go through a little bit more about what the contest looks like. And if you have questions, of course, you can reach out to me, and maybe I could even send some follow-up information via email if you guys would like more information. But let me try and share my screen here. Let's see if I can do, I don't know if you'll still be able to see me, but I'll show you guys the website. Are you all able to see? Perfect. So this is the Wayne Teens website. If you type in wayneteens.com, it'll take you here. And this is where you can see resources for many different topics. As you can see here on the left-hand side, we've got lots of things that are covered. I'm sure some of them could be updated. I have to take a closer look. But if you have questions on any of these topics or topics not included, I encourage you to use this Ask a Health Educator button on the right side. And that will take you to a page like this where you can just put in your name, email, and a question, and those go straight to me or another health educator here at the health department. So what I wanted to highlight tonight again is that public health essay contest. So you see a little flyer here. You can click there, click here, click on the tab. Any of those are fine. And this is going to kind of go through some of the guidelines. And what I hope will spark your interest is there is a scholarship prize for the top 3 teens who do place. And so the highest scholarship is $1,000 and a $75 gift card of your choosing. So you can get creative there if you do place. The deadline is going to be March 12th. If for some reason that does change, that would be posted on the website and our Facebook page. So you could always keep an eye out. But for now, fingers crossed, we get enough attention and interest in for that March 12th date. Now you're probably like, I have no idea what public health is. I don't know what this lady's talking about. So let me kind of give you a couple ideas if you are interested in applying for this. So I'm going to kind of highlight some general ideas. If you ideally write about something you care about or something that's affecting our community here in Goldsboro and Wayne County, that's going to be something really great to get the attention of maybe the folks judging the essay contest, but also it'll make it a lot easier to write about, and you being passionate about these topics can definitely come through. So some ideas may be access to healthcare, adolescent health, disease prevention, effective sexual health education, healthcare costs, mental health, substance abuse, or environmental health. Now, those are, again, very generic. You're probably going to come up with something more specific. So say you wanted to write about maybe breast cancer, that could fall under maybe disease prevention. But you can totally get creative. Think about things that are going on right now. I'm sure we'll get maybe things from COVID or vaping, things that really interest you. And then, again, this first page goes over a lot of those guidelines. So talking about what the issue is, some facts and research, which I'll touch on in a minute, and then some possible solutions and people who should be involved in that solution. So that's where you get to be really creative and your passion can kind of show through there too. It's about 1,500 words, which it's been a while since I've written a paper that long, but about 5 pages at most, 6 pages, but really that's at most. We don't need more than that. If you want to feel more comfortable with less, that's totally fine. And then this is the part I wanted to highlight, were ways to enter. So traditionally we've only done mail-in, but with COVID and honestly with the changing times of internet, it's much more practical to do online submissions. So we have those options here. Basically that online form, let me see if I have it pulled up. I don't think I do. It looks just like the guideline page on the web page, just in a PDF looking format. So you can submit your entry form here, your online submission form. Again, you can submit essays this way, email, upload your file, you're good to go. You're more than welcome to mail it in. I have the mailing address down here, and the printable form is literally like the same thing as the online one. It just doesn't have a submit button. So that way we don't get submission forms without the essays. I know that's probably more details than you want, but I just want to walk you through it in case you're interested, or if in case you need to walk someone else through it who is interested. And lastly, if this seems overwhelming, you don't know how you may do this kind of research, this year I've created a resource guide, which kind of just dives into a couple ideas to spark you through your research with Google Scholar, PubMed, ProQuest. Honestly, using sources like this or finding sources through these databases would be awesome for college resumes and just preparing you if you do choose to go to college to be doing this kind of research. And of course, I've highlighted some great resources from the public library. You could use this resource guide for your classes too if you wanted. The public library has great options for you. If you don't have a public library card, you just use, I think, your Power School username and then the last 4 digits of that as your PIN. I don't know Power School, but that's what I was told. Whatever your student ID is for your login. And then lastly, at the very bottom, I just want to highlight our community health assessment. So that's going to be county data, most recent from 2018. It's updated every 3 years. So I would absolutely pull from that for ideas or to include data as well. Again, I'm trying not to overwhelm you, but I hope you all are excited if this is a great opportunity for you guys. And to be honest, I hope that we get a lot of attention and get a lot of applicants. So please spread the word. Does anyone have any questions about the essay contest before I kind of move on from that?
Samantha, before you move on, if there are no questions, I'd like for Carter, if he doesn't mind, to share a little about the topic of his winning essay. I think that'd be great.
Thank you. So the topic of my essay last year was about concussions and the effects that they have. And I chose to go the adolescent health issue route. And in my paper, I mentioned, first off, like the definitions of concussions, the rate of incidence across the entire nation. And then I talked about what we can do to prevent it, and not just CDC guidelines, but things we can specifically do in Wayne County, such as having the school board actually authorize use of baseline testing and other measures that we can take right here in actual places that we can partner with to solve the problem in Wayne County. And in the past, I've written about vaping and social media challenges such as the cinnamon challenge, which you should not do.
Thanks for that, Carter.
That's some really great examples. And just so you guys know, when we receive those essays, they are completely anonymous. I don't even get them first. They're kind of de-identified by the time they get to the judges. So kudos to Carter for getting through anonymously to that level in the top 3. And so we're rooting for you again this year, but I won't know it when your paper comes across.
Thank you.
And then another thing I want to mention, since you sparked my thoughts there, if you want to see some examples like Carter and the other 2 that placed in the top 3, they had to participate in a video if you are in the top 3. And this video is shown to our Board of Health in their June meeting. So if you want an example of kind of what the winners go through after they win, this is a good example. We're going to kind of do the same thing this year because of COVID. It's just more practical, and the more details on that are in the guidelines, but I know they're pretty vague, and that's just because we're still working out those details. So if you have more questions about what that would look like, you can email me, but it's casual. We don't want to stress you out with that. We know speaking is not everyone's strong suit. So if you are great at writing and enjoy writing, that's who we really want to get to. Don't let the video discourage you. All right. Any other comments, questions before I kind of move to our next activity? All right. So let me go ahead and close out a couple of these windows. There's our resource guide, by the way, if you want to download it. And then I have put together a little bit of a Kahoot game. Does that sound okay to kind of finish us up this afternoon? Awesome. So you guys can pull out your phones or another window on your screen. How you'll join, let me make sure I can turn this volume off. Okay, so for this, you'll go to kahoot.it, put in the number, or if you have the app, you can enter in there. And you don't have to use your real names when it makes you create a username. If you don't want to, that's fine. Nice, you guys are coming in. Perfect. I think that's everyone. So I'll go ahead and get us started. Basically, the theme of my Kahoot game, they're pretty easy questions, but just to kind of gauge what your stress level is like. I know that's probably a big topic of your brain is kind of handling all these different stressors in your life right now. So I just want to kind of see where you all are at and then dive into a couple things that we could do to help manage all of that stress going on. Again, I know some of the stuff I'm going to talk about tonight is maybe kind of basic, but I would like it to serve as a reminder of things you should be doing to kind of take care of yourself. Otherwise, those stressors can kind of be harder to handle, I guess you could say. So I'll go ahead and get started here. Hopefully this works. Teen health and stress. So our first question is going to be on a scale of 1 to 4, how stressed are you? 1 being very stressed, 4 being not really stressed at all. Awesome. Well, that's good to see. I'm glad you all are kind of handling yourselves then. Of course, I would expect you all to be more stressed, but maybe you aren't, and I like to hear that. So I'll go ahead and move along here. All right. So there's 2 types of stress. There's good stress and bad stress. If we had to guess which type distress is, what would that be? Wow. Okay. Y'all are killing it. So yeah, so there's 2 types of stress, distress, and then the other type is eustress. So distress is usually what we think about when we think about stress. These are things that make our hearts race, we panic, maybe have some anxiety around. This could have something to do with maybe performing poorly in a class, maybe financial issues, family issues, illness or injury for yourself or your family, things like that, that really kind of burden us. Now, the next type, which you all will probably be able to guess quite easily, is going to be what is eustress. Perfect. So this is what we consider good stress. Now you might be thinking, how is stress good? So in some ways, stress can definitely motivate us to reach our goals. So when we talk about eustress, that's going to be things like maybe getting a job, getting a promotion at that job, looking forward to things like graduation, winning the scholarship that I just mentioned. So those are going to be things that do motivate you. Now, sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between the two, but it's always good to just take a moment and think about those stressors in your life and think about how maybe some of those distress things could be leading to maybe how we could cope with those things, and then thinking about those stressors that are, connected to our greater goals. So just kind of recognizing that not all stress is bad stress. All right. So our next one are going to be, what are ways to de-stress? All right. So I see this one could have been a little tricky. We include exercise, sleeping, and eating healthy, kind of all of them to set a balance in your everyday life. So being able to incorporate exercise, an appropriate amount of sleep, and reasonably eating healthy are going to be things that help us function. And how are we going to deal with stress in our life if we don't take care of ourselves? So a lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight is going to be focusing on these three things. And I promise the questions will maybe get a little trickier after this. So just keep that in mind. I just want to encourage you again to think about, am I exercising? Am I sleeping enough? What does eating healthy look like? And think about, how you can kind of take that into your daily routine. So the next one, I don't know if any of you all feel comfortable speaking without your microphones, but we're going to talk a little bit about sleep. And I kind of wanted to ask you guys if you nap, and if you do, how long does that normally look like? It's okay if you guys don't want to share.
I'm sure somebody would. Samantha, anybody? Did you guys hear? She's asking a question. Do you take naps? And if so, for how long?
Mine can range from 30 minutes to like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my gosh. I feel like for teens, that's very relatable.
See, I don't really take naps because if I want to go to sleep, I have to take off my contact lenses, and that's just too much effort. It's not worth it. So I just stay awake.
I like that. I also was the same way in high school, but of course, I gave up after that quickly when I went to college. Okay. All right. We'll keep those things in mind as we move into our next question, which is, how long should naps actually be? Dang, y'all did good. Okay, so this might surprise some of you guys, but nap is supposed to be 20 to 30 minutes. I have heard the perfect nap is 26 minutes, which do with what you will. But yeah, so that could surprise some people. Basically, ideally with a nap, doing that 20 to 30 minutes is going to be before you get into those really, really deep levels of sleep. And then if you were to do something a little longer, like 45 minutes or an hour, then you're waking up in the middle of a sleep cycle, which is going to actually make you more groggy than you were before your nap. So that 20 to 30 minutes is great, kind of like a power nap, before you are getting into those deeper cycles. Now, say you really didn't sleep the night before, you're exhausted, you need more than just 20 to 30 minutes. A full sleep cycle is going to be about an hour and a half or 90 minutes. Now, that's really just on average for a person, so you might be a little bit different. So if that 20 to 30 minutes isn't going to cut it, an hour and a half would probably be your next bet. But I will say, when I nap and I've done an hour and a half versus the 20 to 30 minutes, I really do feel just as good after 20 to 30 minutes, if not better, because I still will feel kind of groggy sometimes after an hour and a half. But I promise, if you can use this as a tool, maybe now or in your future, because sleeping is really great. When you are stressed out, you need to kind of decompress. Your body is releasing all those hormones when you're sleeping, kind of to relax you. So if you're overwhelmed or you aren't getting enough sleep, a nice little power nap is definitely something to consider. All right, how are we doing on our scoreboard? Carter's kicking butt. All right. How many hours of sleep a night does an average 14 to 17-year-old need? All right. So again, you guys were pretty close on this one. I actually was surprised by this because for my age group, for adults, it's usually about 7 to 9 hours. But for younger people in this age group specifically, they need a little bit more. So actually 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Now, do you guys actually get that? Miss Felicia's shaking her head. No way.
No, not even close.
Oh my gosh.
I'm interested, Samantha, I just want to ask if any of the members that are on, if they do sleep 8 to 10 hours a night.
Most of the time.
Good.
That's good. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, there was no way I was sleeping that much. But as you get older, I will say you will prioritize sleep more than anything else. And I'm learning that now. I'm getting the most sleep I ever have in my entire life. You know, it's not worth staying up chatting with your friends, you know, flip that switch. So yeah, so young people need even more sleep, and they're probably getting even less than normal adults. So shoot for that 8 to 10 hours. And if you're not getting that 8 to 10, maybe throw in a power nap. And I think, let's see, that might be my last sleep question. So I'm going to talk a little bit about screen time. I think that's what our next question is. So obviously, you guys don't really have a choice about the screen time you probably are getting every single day. So my next question is going to be about how much, oh, no, I messed this up. I wish I could pause this. I might skip this question and maybe come back to it if I can, because I do want to go ahead and, wow, did you guys answer it that fast? I'll come back to that question in a little bit since I've already started talking about screen time. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and move into our screen time question. So if you could, what are you supposed to limit your screen time to? You should limit your screen time to less than how many hours? Okay, yeah, you guys got that one right, which again, I was really surprised about this, that it's recommended you get less than 2 hours of screen time. But in reality, think about all the things being thrown at you through school, on your cell phone, TV, even when we get a break from our laptops for working or for school, it's usually to a screen. But I wanted to hear from you guys. Is there anything that you do in your free time that does not involve a screen that you enjoy?
Playing piano.
That's awesome.
Reading.
Wow. I like that. Can you think of anything, Anna?
The question was, what do we do besides screen time?
Yeah.
I play volleyball at school.
Yeah, those are really good examples. I mean, especially with clubs and things like that in sports, there's definitely a lot of opportunities. So think about, as you get older, how you could carry on reading or playing piano or sports as you move on through your life, because I didn't do those things when I was in high school, and now sit on the couch watching Netflix all night. So it'd be great if you had hobbies that are more than just screen time, just to give you a little bit of a break. And especially during this time, take advantage of those hobbies. If you have a break during the day, enjoy that time that you can spend doing those things. Okay, I'll go ahead and move on to our next question, which kind of makes me think about the volleyball comment. And that is, how many minutes of exercise do people aged 6 to 17 need daily? All right, so this is kind of another tricky one. So for young people, they need about 60 minutes of exercise every day. So that would be moderate to more vigorous activity. Something like volleyball is a really good example. And then as we get older into my age group, they say about 30 minutes, 5 days a week. So actually younger adolescents do need more activity time. are any of you guys also involved in other sports, or is there anything else you do besides sports to get exercise?
I go to the gym sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like that's another really good example. And for a lot of people, the gym can be a little intimidating. So I do want to recognize there definitely are other ways to get exercise besides going to the gym or being in some kind of formal sport club. I mean, when I was in college, people would play racquetball. So you could do a game outside. One of my supervisors used to hula hoop for her daily activity. So thinking about how exercise can be fun if you don't have it in your routine now, just thinking about what's something realistic that you enjoy, maybe doing it with someone else that can be fun, that it can be sustainable and something that you can do as you get older as well, because I feel like now is a really great time to find those hobbies and passions to be able to carry with you through the rest of your life to have a healthy lifestyle. So the goal is 60 minutes a day. I know that's not always realistic, but something is always going to be better than nothing. So thinking about little steps you could take to reach those goals. Right. And then something else to mention before I move on as well, as far as stress and exercise is going to be really, really great for you if you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious maybe, because when you exercise, you're releasing hormones, you're releasing endorphins, your happy hormones. So it is really going to make you feel a lot better, even if you're like, there's no way I want to go to the gym today, I feel awful. But I promise if you do take that effort to take care of yourself and to get those endorphins going, it should make you feel better scientifically. Whether you want to believe it or not, your endorphins are going. So something else to think about there. Okay, this might be my last question. So let me see here. We're doing good. And this one says, ooh, my bubble's in the way. According to the MyPlate method, what should fill up half of your plate? All right. Okay, so we got answers kind of all over the place on this. Has heard of the MyPlate method? I think they teach that now, hopefully. And I know the food pyramid's long gone, but that's what I learned. I'm sure that's probably what you learned too, Miss Felicia. Mm-hmm. Right. So I am not a nutritionist or dietitian, but I do like to mention the MyPlate method because it's going to be a good guideline for thinking about healthy eating, which I'd like to mention because I feel like that's going to be one of the main pillars to helping deal with stress. So if you're fueling your body, you're taking care of your body, you're going to be able to handle those stressors and much more equipped as you move on in high school, but also really the rest of your life. So with the MyPlate method, you guys may have seen pictures. Basically, it's a guideline for every meal, 3 meals a day. So it's going to be basically you have your plate, half of it would be filled with fruits and vegetables. A fourth of it would be filled with your protein, and then your other fourth of your plate would be a grain. So, and then a side of dairy, whatever that may look like, cheese, milk, sour cream, depending on what you're eating, I guess. But honestly, the way I like to think about it and what might make more sense to you guys is using your hands. So when I use this example, you'll be able to see how I might eat compared to someone who might be 6 foot tall basketball player, right? They're going to probably need a lot more food. So the MyPlate method, thinking about it on a plate, doesn't always make sense. So ideally, for one of your 3 meals, when you have your 3 meals times a day, you would have 2 handfuls of fruits and vegetables. Now it's better to have more veggies than fruit, but whatever gets you eating your fruits and veggies. And then a handful of grain, so mashed potatoes, rice, maybe like a biscuit, something like that. And then your protein should actually be the size of your palm and thickness too. And then, of course, again, a side of dairy. So you should be having that 3 times a day. And then thinking about, of course, when we go to restaurants, your plate probably does not look like that. It's probably like a whole hand of protein, maybe this much of veggies, and then like this much of grain, French fries, mashed potato, garlic mashed potatoes. I'm gonna get hungry here. But thinking about, we don't see those proportions when we go out to eat, maybe even in our own homes, probably not when you're in the lunch line either. So just be mindful of, what is my plate supposed to look like? Because you might have to advocate for yourself to be getting those portions, right? And being mindful of, what can I do to make sure I do get those 2 handfuls or half a plate of fruits and veggies, which really are going to be kind of the most important part, the most nutritious part when you are eating. So I wanted to mention that, and I'm glad I did, because it seemed like we were kind of all over the place there. So think about what your fruits and veggies could be. Broccoli, sweet potatoes, corn. Now everything's like a big hit. Stick it in the air fryer. So if you don't like veggies now, if you have an air fryer, you can ask your parents or do it yourself as another option to make your veggies taste better. But that's kind of the gist of my presentation. And I do want to see kind of how everyone won. So that's good to see. Yay, everybody. I know we skipped that one question, which I did want to get to, but I'm okay to wrap up with my presentation if you all are ready as well. And then I can also answer any questions too.
Are there any questions, guys? Samantha, I do have a question. Can you say or speak to if the health department is seeing kind of an influx in any particular area when it comes to teens and public health, any of those specific areas?
I mean, well, so I actually have not been at the health department long, but based on what I've seen and what the interactions I've had in the community, it seems like a lot of people are having, really there's a need for mental health and mental health resources, which the health department doesn't really offer. And honestly, there's not a lot of resources in Wayne County. There's some through the school system, but beyond that, there's definitely lacking resources. And from my understanding, even through the school system, there can be a little bit of a wait there too, because so many people need that help. And so there's definitely maybe some room for improvement there, but I know that's not always practical. And that's, I would assume, definitely related to COVID too, which is kind of why I wanted to talk a little bit about stress tonight, just because that's kind of tied to mental health in a way. If we can think about stress and manage that, then we might be able to help prevent some of those other mental health challenges as well. But I know many people who may watch this, or many people in your classrooms, do need that help. So I encourage them to please seek it out. But unfortunately, they may have to wait for that help too. And then for here at the health department specifically, I know we do deal a lot with serving teens for if they wanted like sexual health resources. But again, I honestly don't know if that's kind of dropped off since we've started with COVID too. I don't know. I'd have to ask about that. But I know that's another big area that we serve as well.
Okay. And are you currently able to go to visit schools still?
Yes, so I am in a couple schools now doing the Making Proud Choices program, and I am setting up some stuff to do at UMO, which is really exciting. So I am kind of reaching out to the universities and to the schools to kind of see what I can do. So yeah, at least I'm out in the community, and if you know of anyone who needs programming, we can always work on something for that as well.
Okay. And are you just in high school, Samantha, or are you guys targeting any of the middle schools?
So typically we would be in the middle schools doing the WISH program and some of Making Proud Choices. But right now it's just too much. The WISH centers really, I think, are limited. Right now, we're not expected at least to go in until next semester for that. And then for Making Proud Choices with the cohorts, I basically have to teach at the high schools I already do twice. And then, so that kind of just takes away the time that I normally could have been in the middle schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So what schools are you currently visiting, Samantha? Which high schools?
So I've been to Spring Creek High School and then ACOC, which I will be back in ACOC in February for their second cohort. And then I'll also be in Rosewood probably towards the end of the semester as well. So those are the three that I will normally be in. Now, I don't remember all of the WISH centers, but there are a couple high schools that fall under there as well. So I could be at those other high schools in the fall next semester.
Okay. That'd be good. I believe it was 2019, the youth council had representation from every Wayne County high school.
Wow.
So I kind of bragged about that, but this year, and we have been for the past few years, really popular at the Wayne School of Engineering. So I believe all of our members that are on tonight, yes, they are students at Wayne. No, we have one from Wayne Country Day, and then the other three are from the Wayne School of Engineering.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so please do share information about the essay contest. I don't really see me being able to go into those schools to promote just because of this time. So if you or anyone else has questions, you can reach me on the health department website with the Ask a Health Educator button, or you can email me. My name is Samantha Patrick. So my email is samantha.patrick@waynegov.com.
Okay. And thank you so much, Samantha, for being with us tonight. We will certainly share about the essay. We have a Facebook page. We can share that. And then, so I encourage the members to definitely share the information. So glad to know that one of our members is already familiar with the contest and has already participated. So thank you so much. And guys, if there's nothing else, then we will stand adjourned. So I hope everyone has a good evening.